Oh, I didn't even get a countdown. Did you get a countdown?
I've got a 5 count. Yeah.
Man, it didn't give it to me. So,
Yeah.
hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Do a Podcast. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony. See
Ooh.
the tension building there?
Yeah, the pause made me think, did we lose
Yeah.
him?
Very dramatic.
Yeah. Um, I know it has been a while since we recorded. Um,
It's been a minute.
Mixture of you went on vacation, I went
I
on
did.
vacation, and then I was
You
sick
did.
for like 3 weeks.
I
Uh,
was sick for a time too. Post vacation sickness is no joke.
yeah, truly, and it was so bad. Like I knew I was gonna get sick too. Like on the way home, I was
hmm
like, "It's coming. I can feel it." And yeah, the Thursday after I got back, I was terrible, and I feel like just I don't know a few days ago, I finally like, okay, I feel normal. My cough is gone overall, and it's like, okay, I think I'm all right.
I think it's what happens when you leave your immediate vicinity and you just aren't used to like the plants and just like air like where you're usually at, and
Mm-hmm.
so your body just like rejects it and just gets violently angry with you, and your sinuses are just like, oh, guess what? You can't breathe now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So,
Yeah.
it might be a rusty episode, everybody, but just hang with us, and we'll get through this together. But it is October, so that means we start the scary season. So, of course, we had to start that with the movie Rubber.
Yeah, it's stars the horror villain that is the same shape as the first letter of October. It's big O,
Oh,
so of course we
sure.
had to do rubber, right?
Perfect. It's perfect timing. Um, so before we get into that, let's start drinking some beer. I haven't had beer in a little bit, so let's do this.
I just realized this is the thing I forgot to look up. I forgot to look up my beer.
Oh, that's fine. I'll do mine
So
first
you
so
can
you can,
start. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So it's trying to kind of go with, a scary theme. It's called Hazy Birthday to Me by Beer Zombie Brewing in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
So it is, let me pull up the description for everybody. Says a child was born in the height of an eclipse of the sun. 46 years later, he began to consume the people around him, even the brewers. Hazy Birthday to Me, a birthday celebration beer for the founder of Beer Zombies. It is a 8.77 ABV, 0 IBU. We'll see about that. I think they put a lot. I just feel like zeros put almost on all these hazy IPAs. I'm just like, I don't. Some of them, I just don't believe it. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Yeah. They just like fudged out like the 1 and the 0 before that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
overall, on Untapped has a 4.02 rating. So we'll see how it is. I mean, I of course, classic me. I open mine before the show starts because we all our listeners know what happens. If I don't, it overflows everywhere. So it's definitely very, very hazy. Um,
Ah.
Smell is very strong. So I'm looking forward to getting my sip in while Anthony tells you about his beer.
So I have a special glass for my beer today, just in
Ooh.
the theme of was so got my special celebration of Oktoberfest. We are in
Mm.
October, so it's literally not Oktoberfest right now because that's in September. Go figure. But my beer for this episode is the Tups
Mm.
McKinney Oktoberfest. So holy but a goodie. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a crack while I read off what this is all about here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. So the readout from Tufts is that this is inspired by the classic Munich Oktoberfest beers, but with the spirit of Texas craft, this ale brings a roasted flavor while remaining drinkable. Malty flavors with caramel, sweet and clean profile, and also musty. That doesn't sound great to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a interesting mix.
Sounds like it's like, oh, flavors of basement.
Base-
So
yeah. Moisture in the air.
uh,
Oh,
so, prost to all of you.
Now, if I remember correctly, I think we had this last year. Not, I mean, I don't think on
Eh,
stream or on the show. Can't remember what we had for Oktoberfest the
I
last
don't
year,
remember either.
but I do
I have
know
to go
that
look
you
in
and
the
me,
feed.
yeah, I know that you and me have had this beer before, and if it's as good as I remember, you're going to enjoy it.
Yes.
But of course, most Oktoberfest beers are very enjoyable.
Hmm.
Um, so, anyways,
I usually cook with a lot of these Marzens. I usually end up using them for cooking. I usually buy a lot of them up and use them for cooking a lot of brats. Which man, they do make for some good beer brats. So
did you make any beer brats this year?
not yet. I did go to Oktoberfest down in Fort Worth last week, and I ate I ate two beer brats. I wish I had more, but I've just like I just run like 10K, and so I was just like not hungry at that point. So
Yeah, yeah. uh, oh my gosh, we actually have a chatter. So for our listeners, we now stream us recording live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And we actually have our first chatter with us. I'm pretty that welcome in Dylan, but he's watching us live right now. So you can follow us over there. We usually record Sunday evenings. I should be posting when we're gonna record so people know ahead of time. So maybe I'll get better about that.
yeah, like to keep everybody off balance there. Just
That's
kind of
right.
like
Stay on your
what's gonna
toes.
happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um yeah, I haven't really had any beer brats yet either. Kind of makes me think maybe I should make it. We're gonna have
Yeah.
some company over later this month. So I'm like, do you guys like brats? Because this is maybe what I'll do. So
Well, it's like down here, it's been too damn hot for any of that fall food. Like I usually
it's
like
hot
doing
down
like some
there.
soup, some chilies, some like brats, like, and for all that heavy food, it's just like it was still like 90 something degrees today. It was like ridiculous. I was out hiking today. It's like we scheduled a hike thinking it was gonna be nice and cool by now, maybe like high in the 80s. But man, it was brutal out today.
Yeah.
Not as brutal as like mid-August, but damn.
But where you should be versus now, it's a lot hotter.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it's nice here, but according to a lot of people, it's still warmer than what it should be. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, today's high is like 68. I'm like, I'll take it. I love it. Like,
Yeah. Climate change is a bitch.
Dylan said, had my first some pumpkin cheesecake. That was really my first taste of fall. It was awesome.
And I'm due for some. I keep seeing this pumpkin stuff available, and it's just like I've just been cautious about it because I'm just like I don't want to get into that fall vibe because I'm just not feeling it yet. It's like
Yeah.
when the Christmas is coming up and everybody starts shoving it down your throat immediately after Halloween. It's like I don't want to partake in the stuff until I feel it's ready, and I just don't feel it's ready yet.
Yeah. If you do it too early, then you get burnt out by the time it's actually time
Yeah.
to like enjoy it. I mean, up here though, like immediately as soon as like pumpkin stuff started coming out, it's like it at least feels like that. So I can kind of start to get into it. But
Yeah,
it is
which
gonna
I
get a little bit
understand
warmer.
that now. Now that I've been up there,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. I get it now. It felt like that in early September.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, truly, it's so strange. Like all of a sudden, September hits, and it's just like, boom, everything changed. I was like, all right, rainy weather is back. It's
yeah,
chillier.
people
I'm
put
just
on their
like,
flannel. Yeah,
yeah. Immediately, I was just like in shock because I'm used to Texas, where it's like super hot, and then all of a sudden, it's like, bam, ice. You know.
yeah, yeah.
But here, I'm like, oh my god, we're getting a transition. Like this is so strange. I love it though. But
No,
anyways, so of course you had a few seconds to taste your beer. It's been more than a few seconds. What did you think? What are your initial reactions of your Oktoberfest?
it's good. It's a
Awesome.
Marzen. So like there's some body to it, but like I'm used to like the being able to like with the IPA being able to chew on your beer almost, you know.
Yeah.
And so like with the Marzens, I'm always like it's like I had an allergies from Panther Island Brewing the other day. I was meeting somebody and they were like, "Hey, we have some beer." It's like we know you like drinking beer, so here's this. It's like a honey lager, and to me, it's like since I'm so used to drinking these high ABV beers, it's like, oh, this is like drinking water. but I'm thankful that you provided this to me. And it's like this is higher ABV, of course, 5.5. But it's just like it's not a 10% beer, but you still have that great flavor from the Marzen. It's just the maltiness just kind of carries it through onto your palate, and just kind of it's really good for that. I still prefer, and I'll reserve my judgments for the end, but I still think this makes better for cooking and importing its flavors there. The caramel and malty flavors really go well in when you cook with it, and so I'm looking forward to cooking with the rest of these. As of right now, we'll see as I progress my way through this if I find any chewiness to this. Let's say,
Yeah, hey, you never know whenever it starts to warm up, right?
yeah,
So for my easy birthday to me,
blooms.
it's really really delicious. I mean, you know how sometimes you smell a beer and you think this is going to smell better than it tastes? It is not that at all. It smells so flavorful and so good. As soon that first sip it hits you, and you're like, "Ooh!" You get the tingles in your body. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the zombie. It's the zombie virus infecting you.
Starting
the
to get
zombie beer.
starting to get a
Yeah.
little moist. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's musty. Oh God.
Anthony's dealing with musty. I'm dealing with moist. So with that said, let's move on to our next segment, which is events and movies. So
Yes,
we talk
let's
about
do
Anthony
that.
talks about the events and news happening in the DFW, and I'll talk about movies and shows that are either coming out or are out that I don't know we're interested in. So Anthony, take us to the DFW. What's happening around you?
All right, so thanks again to our friends over at Beer and Big D, doing the Lord's work, doing all this heavy lifting for us, so we can just read it off their website and share it with it. But if you have any questions about any of these events, just go to beerandbigd.com. They got all the links set up there for these events. It's really well organized, so go check that website out. Great stuff there. But as I mentioned, a lot of the Oktoberfest events have been going on past couple weeks. A lot of the breweries have had Oktoberfest events, but if you're like, oh my God, I forgot, I didn't get to do any Oktoberfest events, don't you worry, you're still covered. Some people take the October and Oktoberfest quite literally. So just running down the line here, some of the events we got coming up. So you do have Barktoberfest down at Hop and Sing going on
Rough.
on October 7th. Yes, rough indeed. I was just at Hop and Sting today. Beers are still great. So I don't know, nothing else to say about that, except I was bummed that their barbecue place that's right next door, Vaqueros, was closed. So I was really bummed about that because I needed some Vaqueros barbecue and I didn't get any today. So I was really sad about that. At Shannon Brewing, same day, October 7th, they do have Brews for Boobs with Cancer Stronger. So a fundraiser there for breast cancer awareness. You go check that out at Shannon Brewing. Snaketoberfest number 9 at Intrinsic Brewing is also on October 7th. So that's what you got going on that weekend there. The following weekend, October 13th and 14th at Division, you have Punk and Metal Fest 3, which sounds pretty dope right there. I may have to look more into that and see if that's worth getting into. Also on October 14th, we have Good Stock at Community Beer. So always a good time there at Community.
Love that place.
I had somebody tell me about the Texas Hot Sauce Festival that's going on at Brutal Beer Works on October 14th as well. So I'm always down for getting just my mouth just totally torched since you can't get those Pockies one chip challenge chips anymore since some kid died eating one of those. So get your hot sauce on there October 14th. Actually, I think they had either this weekend or next weekend they had the Fort Worth Hot Sauce Festival actually going on as well. So cool stuff there. And our first Oktoberfest, October 14th. If you want to go to Pegasus Brewery downtown, great facility that I've been by several times, never get to actually go into. They have their Oktoberfest going on the 14th, so just 2 weeks from now, go check that out. And one of my favorite events, got one of my favorite T-shirts there at Martin House. They have Meet the Turtles, save the. It's like a. I have one of my shirts I've worn on the podcast several times. I think it's like drink beer and save turtles. I believe is what it says. So it's just a great event. You get to hang out, see some turtles. They bring them over from the zoo. Cool stuff. Um, 5th anniversary a party at Civil I thought Civil was closed. I thought they got taken up by COVID. I'm glad to see that they're back open. So Civil on October 21st, they are celebrating their 5th anniversary. Also celebrating their 5th anniversary on the 28th is Celestial. They have their 5th orbit anniversary party. I still have several vouchers for free beers, so I may need to go down there and use these vouchers that I've had for a year to get those going. And then we start getting to Halloween events. Turning Point got their retro Halloween bash on October 29th. So get your Halloween on down there. And then last one, November 11th, out in Horizon, we got Oak Highlands Brewery got their 8-year anniversary party. So go celebrate their anniversary with those guys as well. So that's what I got on the beer fest front. On the news front, nothing really much going on there. Ryan, what you got on the movie front?
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't been to the Celestial birthday parties, I suggest you go. Me and the wife went. Of course, we went last year because we knew by this point that we were going to move. So it's like we kind of want to go to the birthdays and the events of the places that we really enjoyed. And it was a blast. We had a great time. So I'd suggest anybody thinking about going, just go do it. It's a lot of fun. Plus, it's Celestial. You can't go wrong with Celestial. So.
You really can't.
All right. So I'm pretty sure most, also the ones that we're going to talk about are actually movies. I know sometimes I throw in the TV shows. First movie is The Creator. This looks awesome. Have you seen the commercials for it? You probably have.
This was actually originally pitched as a Star Wars movie, and Disney rejected it. But they were like, fuck it, we're going to make it anyways.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks so good. Every time I see the commercials, I'm like, I gotta see this movie. It looks so good. It kind of like scratches that itch of a sci-fi movie that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. So I'm hoping that I'm not building it up too high. I mean, I think it just came out, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think it just released. Yeah.
So I really haven't looked up too much. I'm kind of trying not to look up too much because, spoilers and all. But I do know like they've done a ton of advertising for this movie. So I hope it pays off for them. It looks interesting. It has a 7.3 out of 10. So
there's not much out there in the theater right now. I think we were in that little bit of lull coming out of summer where like I think the only thing there was like only big budget movie that was out there still in the theater was like Blue Beetle, which I saw. And it was good, but there was like nothing else really big out in the theater. So I think this is like the next beginning of our fall, bigger budget and maybe not AAA movies, but more of our sci-fi spectacular type movies. So
yeah, I think we are gonna hit and kind of stay in a little bit longer lull just because of the writer strike that happened. Luckily, they did come to a solution and they got it all figured out. So we'll be getting our movies and TV shows back, and they're getting paid well to do.
Hopefully we get SAG-AFTRA figured out next. So
next coming up on November 10th is The Marvels. I'm really excited about this. I've only seen one commercial for it, and I think it's whenever we went to go see Barbie, if I remember it right. And I was just like, oh my god, like the commercial itself got me excited. I've thought about it ever since, and like I watched the same commercial or the same trailer for it. So
so I have it on good authority that this movie is really good. I know some people who got to see this movie. They were doing very early showings to get some audience reactions on some of the final edits, and so they got to watch this movie. Special effects weren't fully completed yet for the movie, but they said the movie was really good, at least in the format they got to see it in. So
it looks great.
Word on the street is it's going to be really good, and it's going to follow up. If you watch Secret Invasion, which God bless you if you watch that show, because that show was a stinker. But it's going to follow up what happens on that show. So
yeah, I haven't seen that. I think I'm caught up with Mrs. Marvel. The thing is, like, I don't have what's it called? Disney Plus anymore. So I'm gonna be start getting really behind on a bunch of these shows, and I just don't want to pay for it. I'm tired of paying for so many streaming services.
Well, honestly, these movies should stand on their own. The TV shows should just serve as like a little bit of a wink and a nod,
Yeah,
but you should be able to watch just the movies and not have homework to watch like 3 hours of a show about a character. Yeah,
yeah. I know it's just hard too, knowing like even like there's so many shows coming out on Disney Plus. I'm like, I
yeah,
gotta watch that. I gotta watch that. But I'm like, I'm so far behind. I'll never get caught up.
yeah,
But
yeah. But
one day.
I will say, just off on a tangent, Ahsoka, pretty damn dope.
I've heard
Particularly if
it's
you've seen
great.
Rebels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard it's great, and I'm just itching. Whenever, so yeah, during the holidays, I'm gonna go see my family for a little bit. So my mom has Disney Plus. I'm like,
hmm,
I'm just gonna be like, hey, I'm using your Disney Plus while I can.
yeah.
So the last one we're gonna talk about, I feel like I have to talk about this movie, even though I'm not gonna see this movie. I doubt you're gonna see this movie. I don't think I know anybody that will go see this movie. But Paw Patrol came out, and I feel like I should talk about it because it's the
You
number
are
one
correct, sir.
movie of
Yeah.
this last week. So I don't know, like I almost feel like I kind of have to talk about it because it's number one and it has pretty good ratings. I mean, listen. So whenever I sit here before I even get Anthony invited into the us doing this, I usually sit and I watch the trailers of everything. So I feel like I have something to actually talk about if I haven't seen it
Yeah.
before. I watched the trailer. I mean, it's Paw Patrol. It's a kid's show. I don't know what else you want from me related to this.
It's actually the second Paw Patrol movie, I think, too.
Is it? Oh, I had no
I think
idea.
so. I think there was one prior to this. Whether it was a theatrical, whether it received a theatrical release, or whether it was, just like I don't know, just like a TV movie. I'm not sure. But this is the second, at least the second Paw Patrol type movie. But this is the first one where they're portrayed as having superpowers, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the first, but sure. Um, oh yeah, they have. This is pretty much Paw Patrol the movie, and then this one. Okay. I mean, Chris Rock is in this movie. There's actually some decent actors in this movie, but I mean, I I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If I
Yeah.
am if no, even if it's the last movie on Earth, I don't see myself even watching this. So
If it was the last movie on Earth, I may watch it just for the sheer, just for laughing at the sheer concept of civil governmental services being provided by dogs, and what a shit show that would be.
literally,
Yeah,
um, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, so those are kind of the movies. Like Anthony said, we're kind of in a lull. There's some TV shows coming out. Nothing that's really hitting. That's just like yes, super excited about. Um,
Loki comes out soon. Also Disney Plus. So
yeah,
not
so
for
I'm,
you, Ryan.
I'm out on the loop when it comes to other streaming services, but so that's pretty much what I got for now.
Yeah.
Maybe by the next episode I'll have something else that pops in my head where I'm like, oh yeah, we got to talk about this movie or show. So
Yeah, and then a few episodes we can probably talk about how excited I am for All Mankind starting back up again. So season 4, they finally announced when it's being released. So pretty excited and rewatching this the first 3 seasons.
I don't
right
know
now, so.
when, but Quantum Leap is making their second season coming out soon, which I'm excited
Ooh.
about. The first one was so good. It's fun. All right. Let's get into this movie. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So the 2010 horror sci-fi comedy movie Rubber. Oh, buddy. So Anthony, you want to do the little breakdown, the synopsis, and then we will chat about this movie.
All right. So synopsis is as follows. If I can get my big note show up in the right place. All right. So where is it? All right. So not a lot to say here, but a homicidal car tire, discovering it has destructive psionic powers, sets its sights on a desert town once a mysterious woman becomes its obsession. And that is it. That is everything. I'd say that covers it. So
Yeah, I mean, overall, yes. What a strange. Okay, so I saw this forever ago. Like, I think I watched it one time. Like, these are the type of movies that me and my mom love to watch together.
yeah, this
Uh,
is actually for at least for me. This was a recommendation that I received from somebody who's listened to the podcast a few times, saying you got to do Rubber because you keep talking about all these other bad movies, and this is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. You got to do that. I'm like, all right, we'll look at it once it comes easily available on streaming, and lo and behold, I saw it. I saw it streaming on YouTube TV. It was just
Yep.
on. I think it was actually on Max or something like that. So I was like, all right, well,
yeah,
I'll
I
watch
watched
it.
it off of Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I kind of forgot about it until we were texting about, oh man, we need to record. We've been, we're both finally kind of better, and life's a little bit back to normal. So he's like, yeah, I watched Rubber. I'm like, cool, we're doing it then.
Yeah.
So I rewatched it, and yeah, it's a wild movie. It's very strange. Um, uh, uh where do you want to start with this movie?
Start with the start.
So it's so strange, the beginning of this movie. And I forgot the beginning of this movie too. So whenever whenever I started the movie and it shows the car driving towards a person, I mean, it's very slow. They're like in the middle of nowhere, and he's driving like so, and there's just like a ton of chairs in between a group of people and the car. And the car is going out of his way to hit all these chairs on his way to come talk to you.
Yeah, because it's like it's really interesting because like that first scene, it's like, oh, it looks like he's just like trying to swerve around the chairs, and it looks like, oh, he just hit the first few because maybe he just misjudged the turns, but then you realize he's hit every single one, and you're like, these chairs are very poorly constructed,
Yeah.
and he's purposely hitting every single chair coming through here, and I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to build on that central conceit or that central theme of the speech in the beginning there about reason and lack thereof.
Yeah. Yeah. Things don't matter.
Yeah.
It's very strange. So, anyways, yeah. So they get there. He's talking like the sheriff gets out of the trunk of a car. Then he comes over, grabs a glass of water, and just like stares at the camera and talks to you about movies and things that just don't matter. Things that happen in movies that just literally just don't matter.
Have no reason.
Um,
Which all these things have a reason. That everything they use is like why blah blah blah. No reason. It's like I'm watching this. I'm like, there's a reason for why they did that.
yeah,
Totally is a reason.
it's so crazy. And just like at the end of the speech, he doesn't drink it. He just pours out the water. He gets back in the trunk and they leave. And all of a sudden, it shows a crowd of people that then get handed binoculars and says, like, enjoy the show or something like that, and they leave. That person leaves and just leaves them to stay in this area. That's how the movie starts.
Yeah, we don't know why they're there or what their show is. I don't think they really know what the show is either.
And literally, even now, you don't really quite understand why they did what they did. Like, but you don't know. So
Yeah.
it's such a strange movie. But anyways, all of a sudden they kind of figure out they're staring at this dump, and they see a tire starting to move, and then the tire starts to realize it's alive, I guess, and then starts to realize it has psychic abilities, and like starts destroying cans and birds and rabbits with its mind, I guess.
with its psionic powers.
Yeah,
because we don't know if it has like mental telekinesis or anything. Because we don't even know if it has a mental to use.
yeah, it's interesting, and somehow, which this is on the long list of things that I liked about this movie, you could see somehow this tire, you could see its emotions in a
Hmm.
sense. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? How did they
Right.
figure out how to give this tire some sort of emotion that you can almost read off of? It was so like it made me start to think, how do I know? How do I know that this tire is like learning how to walk, because
Right.
of that. It just anyways.
Well, it's like characterize it so much throughout the course of the movie as as a human. The thing drinks water, it sleeps, it takes showers, it appears to fall in love with this mysterious woman who's driving through town. Uh, it then stalks said woman for a bit. I mean, and also has mental powers and starts blowing people's heads up. I mean, who wouldn't do that if they had psionic powers? Come on.
Yeah. It's a unique movie. That is definitely a way to say this.
Which honestly, you could kind of set the whole stage by us. So this whole movie is made by or directed by a French filmmaker named Quentin Dupieux. Dupieux. I'm probably pronouncing it way incorrectly. So it's very much made in the French avant-garde style. Very it's very much like let the audience figure it out, and it's going to be very I don't even know the correct word for it, but very it's very artistically artsy fartsy in the way it's done, um, or at least in that it presents itself in that way, which I think it's in the end. I mean, it's obviously like done as a commentary on filmmaking and the business of filmmaking. With the audience and the accountant and all this other stuff with the movie and the movie being fake in the middle of the movie. Uh, and so it's like it's all like this meta commentary on the movie. But at a certain point, I was like just like so dialed out of that because it got so very high concept on that stuff. I think that it became I was like, all right, I'm just gonna focus on the tire and the tire like what limited characterization we have there
Yeah.
because I don't have the background knowledge to understand, at least at face value, some of the stuff that's going on beneath the surface. So I'm just gonna leave that be for now, and I'll go figure that out later.
Some of me wonders if Nicolas Cage saw this before he did Willy's Wonderland. Because he's thinking, how can I portray all these things without saying a word? And he's just like,
Right.
well, they did it in rubber.
They did it with a puppet tire.
They did it with a tire. If they can do it with a tire, then I can do it.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually I was watching a movie, a YouTube video where they're talking about this movie. I just kind of go and try to get other like context for my thoughts on the movie to make sure I'm not totally off base on what I think. And one of the things the guy said is like, A, the tire is not important. B, they could have gotten the tire could have been anything. It could have been Nicolas Cage, and he would have done it gladly.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a remake of this movie with Nicolas Cage playing the role of Robert the Tire, which that is canonically the name of the tire.
Yeah. Man. What else worth mentioning before we move into the likes and dislikes of this movie?
So I'd say the most interesting thing. So the most interesting things that happen during the course of the movie is like you figure out that this audience is going to be there for days. They don't get fed. They're not receiving any food or anything until they get a turkey that is killed by the accountant in his hotel room. We never see the turkey get killed, but we see the turkey in the hotel room and see the implements for the turkey's ultimate demise. But we see the turkey just get dumped on the ground. And then they all eat the turkey, and then everybody except for one person in the audience dies from, I guess, poisoning from the turkey, which is fun. But that leads to the all the actors, or at least the sheriff, kind of breaking out of the fourth wall of the movie and saying, "Hey, all right, guys, we're done." Everybody's like, "What do you mean we're done?" It's over. The audience is dead. We can just go back and reset and do whatever we want to do, and because we're actors. But because somebody's still watching, the movie is still real, and so which I'm surprised he survives getting shot if the movie's still real.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, but it's just like this whole thing about, since there's somebody still watching, basically everybody was killed is still technically dead because they're still playing the game of the movie, as long as this one audience member is still alive. And at a certain point, when they get to the end of the movie, like just like the guy's just Sheriff Chad, I think is what he's called, or Lieutenant Chad. He's finally like over it after like the tire has killed so many damn people. I think the tire kills like 37 people. Then he finally like just goes in the house with a shotgun, kills the tire, chucks it at the guy in the wheelchair, who's the only one from the audience who didn't die. And then he's like, "The end, it's over." And it's like, and that's the end of the movie. That's how the tire dies until the tire's reincarnated with all its little clones. So this movie is just kind of very loosely plotted. It's something you just got to see for yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what's hard about movies like this is like I feel like the talking about it doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't.
Because like I feel like there are plenty of movies where we sit here and we start talking and we're having a good time talking about it and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? This episode made the movie seem better than it really is. And I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like this. Wait, not that our podcast sucks. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's just one of those movies that like no matter how we talk about it or say about it, nothing will prepare you like just watching it. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because it there's so much that happens at the same time. There's like nothing that happens, which is strange. I know, but that's the name of this.
Ryan, what did you like about this movie?
Oh man, I liked how, even though watching this for a second time, there's a lot of random turns in this movie that you just wouldn't think about. That actually kind of, well, some of them lead somewhere and some of them lead to nowhere. Like the whole audience thing. I mean, they get a whole audience, they poison them, they kill them off, or try to kill all of them off, and then just like, we're done. That's what they're trying to do. And you're thinking, but why? And it kind of leads nowhere. You don't know why. Even at the end of the movie, you have no idea why.
Mm-hmm.
And just the strangeness of just like, so we're watching an audience watching a making of a movie. Or making of a movie. Well, that's what we're guessing. Who knows what it really is? And then, yeah, the breaking of that fourth wall, but multiple times, and even the end of the movie where the tire turns into a tricycle and is going to the highway, and it's just like, what? Like, it's just so strange. So I like the not this. I feel like this concert like goes against what I've said about all the other movies that do this, but I like that I have no idea what's happening or where it's going.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like it's almost similar to. Did you get a chance to watch Asteroid City when it was still making its rounds earlier this year?
I don't think
that Wes Anderson movie.
No,
it's very similar in that it's like you're watching not so much watching the audience, watching the play. And in the case of this, it's a play. You're watching like a movie dramatization of a stage play from the audience's perspective, but you're seeing it dramatized in movie fashion. Whereas in real life, if you're watching it, it's like you're actually watching it like with two-dimensional on like a stage, like in any theater. But it's like you're watching this. It's like this high concept of watching something that's being watched. And when you're seeing it in this manner, it's like, well, at what level, what are we watching? Are we watching the audience watch the play? Are we watching the play with the audience, or are we being watched by the audience? And it's like, who are we? And it's like, because at a certain point you become part of the story, even if we serve as a passive player in it. It's like we are now part of the narrative arc of this, and it's like where it's hard to figure out with stuff like this sometimes if it's unless it's clearly spelled out. But if again, it kind of ruins it if it's clearly spelled out where you are. It's like where do I play a role in this story, in this kind of structure of storytelling? And in this, it's like if you kill off all the audience, the movie technically, unless we're within the meta narrative of the story, the movie technically is still going to keep going because now I'm still watching it, So the movie would still technically be going, and it would never be this fake thing because we, the audience, from on the other side of the screen, are still watching it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it way too hard. So
yeah. And that's it. Yeah, it's so strange of just like, I don't know. It's almost hard saying it because I do feel like in all the other movies where I'm like, I'm lost. I have no idea what's happening. And I'm like, I didn't like it because of that. This is the opposite of like, it's confusing. It doesn't make sense, but it's on purpose.
right.
And I think that's why these type of movies, the ones that are made to be a goofy, like it's made to be a bad movie.
Right.
That's why like you just kind of have to approach this differently when you watch it and criticize it, because it's like, is it a bad movie? Obviously, but it's made to be a bad movie. So
Right.
we have to put this in our area of like Killer Sofa, and like the other ones that are like, they are made to be bad movies. So how does it rank and how does it compare to bad movies?
Right.
So it's just like, this is a completely different genre than like if we were doing any kind of other horror scary movie.
Right. It's made to be like a movie that is supposed to have subtext that you're supposed to understand as the viewer, or at least that the filmmaker wants you to understand. But I think there's also purposely no subtext, even though it's played like a movie that has subtext.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so confusing on purpose, and I think that's what I actually really enjoyed about this movie, is just feeling lost
Right.
and thinking that there was going to be resolution and there was not. And I was just like, I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed that it ended and it was just like, we are done. And it just felt like, we're just done with this movie. We're just done making this movie. We're done with it. And they just moved
literally
on.
the words they say. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's done.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's, I think, the longest I ever talked about with what I liked about this movie. But Anthony,
Yeah.
what did you like about this movie?
I will say, and this is probably the thing I like the most, is the whole thing with the turkey, and I think it's a commentary because again, it goes back to the thing where maybe the tire is not the most important thing in the movie, but it's the audience, and that even though the audience gets killed off halfway through the movie, but I think it's important because they talk about how the audience is like, are you gonna bring us some food or something? We're out here in the middle of nowhere. They're in this desert, which maybe is like significant for like the movie landscape, and how like there's like there's no art anymore in filmmaking, I guess is what the filmmaker may be saying. I don't know. There's no substance there, and so they're not getting any substance from this movie. They're not getting anything from the filmmakers, from the business side of thing or anything like that. What substance they do get is that turkey that everybody ravenously devours, but it's toxic and it's bad, you know. So like there's basically having this Drek dumped in the audience. The audience just happily devours it because there's nothing else better to go for. And so I'm just making this up as I go along here because I'm just like trying to find some significance in it, which maybe may be also part of the commentary of this movie of people trying to find meaning in these movies, that it's like that there really is no meaning in these
Yep.
movies. So it may be also like the ultimate prank, and that everybody tries to find some significance in the movie and try to devour it as much as possible. And there's really nothing there that's good for you in the discussion of filmmaking. So maybe I'm just self-defeating in this, but it's really maybe it's just I just find the whole thing really interesting though, because like the ultimate downfall of the audience is just that because they were just sat out there and starved, and so they just devoured this turkey, which I wouldn't eat that. It was just dumped in the sand, by the way.
I thought that too. I was like,
Yeah.
it's only been like a day. I could wait.
Yeah. So everybody just like freaking like lions or animals, they're just like going after the thing, and then they all get sick. So you see them all getting stomach aches and basically all slowly passing on from the poisoning of this turkey. But I found that scene to be very interesting, and it's probably my favorite part of the movie is when they all are just kind of, because the way they shot it, where it was kind of focused on like just this turkey getting just torn apart. It was very interesting to me, and it looked like they actually used a real turkey in that scene
Yeah.
too. The thing was obviously cold, so it couldn't have been good to eat, even for a prop turkey. But yeah, I just found that scene really interesting. So that's what I liked. The one thing I like, one of the few things I liked about this movie.
All right. So what did we dislike? So I would say what I disliked was it that's a hard one. It's always hard whenever it's just like things are made to be bad in this movie. So it's like, what do I dislike? Well, some of the things that were bad, but on purpose.
Yeah.
The dragging out in a sense, even though what the movie's an hour and a half, I think, something like that. It felt a little bit longer to me. But it's because there's a lot of floof in this movie, but at the same time, it's kind of meant to be there to kind of make the movie a little bit more like strange.
Yeah.
So again, the dislike is really tough for me. I didn't really care about the girl that the tire got obsessed with. You know, I didn't really care about these people that, again, you don't really know if you're supposed to care about them. Just because like the whole just trying to figure the whole thing out, I think is really the idea, not necessarily the actors themselves. So I don't know. I kind of feel like the things that I disliked aren't necessarily. I feel like they're meant to be disliked on purpose.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of where I struggle with this portion of our little podcast with this episode, because like the things I disliked, I'm pretty sure they're the things that are meant to be disliked.
Yeah, it's designed that way. Yeah.
So I guess almost nothing except for what they want me to dislike about this movie. I don't know. So it's a terrible answer. I understand that. So, but there's my terrible answer. Anthony, what do you got?
So I'd say the one nitpick I have on this movie is that so the tire, you mentioned this, the tire does find some significance or falls in love with the girl driving the red car. So when she goes to the hotel, he spies on her, yada yada, weirdness of the tire spying on somebody. We like see her go swimming in the pool. Then the tire goes and like chucks itself in the pool and goes swimming too. The next time we see the girl after that, though, I don't think we see her again until when she's in the police van, pretending to be the mannequin.
Yeah.
So they come out and blow her up, and like I'm fully understanding that the movie becomes fully meta at this point, because the sheriff or the lieutenant breaks character and reveals himself to be an actor to everybody, even though they don't understand that they're actors. Uh, but we get in the police van, and she's in there doing the voicing, but we don't see how she got roped into this whole thing, other than the explanation that he's like, we're all actors, and we're just gonna wrap this thing up with the tires so we can just go home, and and do the show again tomorrow. So it's like there's no. I guess my nitpick is that there's no. And again, this could have been totally on purpose, but there was nothing to show us that it was on purpose. There was no nod to it, except for the fact that all of a sudden the girl was there, and in the police van. And, but it does lead to one of my other favorite scenes where like he's like complaining about how she's voicing her character, and so he decides to take over. It's like the tire doesn't buy it very much when he starts voicing the mannequin,
Yeah.
and so he puts her back on. Again, part of the weirdness of this movie, but like there was just no connection between her and how the police would have become aware that she was part of this tire's obsession. And my other nitpick, again, this didn't result in anything, but when the kid puts the bird guts on the pizza, I thought that was just gross.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that did nothing because the dad ended up getting his head exploded before the pizza could be consumed. So, and I don't think the guy would have eaten the pizza anyways. If he saw that on there, he would have just pissed off that the pizza had bird guts on it. But anywho, yeah, it's like a few little things, but like the overall, I feel like even though this movie can feel like it took too long in some areas, it was very much done with purpose. So like, while this movie seems like it's bloated, but it's actually trim, in a way,
Yeah.
because it's done with purpose.
Yep.
Which I have a lot of my times my complaint about the movie is like it's boring, but this movie is boring with a purpose, and so like I can forgive it that,
Ooh, that's my next Instagram handle.
Yeah.
Boring with a purpose.
boring with a purpose. But I mean, but it's like like the whole scene where the tire is like slowly kind of coming to life out of the dirt. It's all done for a reason. What that reason is, we don't have particular clarity on, but we know it's done with a reason.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's done with a reason, but it's just not made super clear to you. So it's like you just have to like think to yourself, okay, there's a higher purpose here that I'm not aware of. So I'm just gonna have to accept that and just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
So things I like, dislike, I don't know. I've said a lot there. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm exactly the same of like, I'm not sure. The answer is, what did I dislike? Yes. What did I like?
yes.
So,
Also, yes.
yeah. All right. So let's move on to let's rate this movie. So we are on Letterbox, which is what did I just do? Here we go. We're on Letterbox, which is pretty much a place you can go. You can rate movies that you watched. You can make your top 5. It's kind of a fun little app that we use now. So make sure to follow us over there at Let's Do a Podcast. So Anthony, between 1 to 5, how would you rate this movie?
I'd probably put it as a 4. You know, I think people will always try to put this movie in a box and try to understand it. But I think the ultimate joke is that you can't, because it was not designed to be understood.
Yeah.
There's no reason that you should try to understand this. There's no reason it would make sense. This movie has no reason for being. No reason.
So
score 4 for no reason.
Yeah, I gave it a 3, so we'll make it a 3.5 and good in between. But I agree. But though, like, I mean, we've seen a lot of movies that are meant to be bad. These type of movies, and so I try to think of the other ones and kind of compare. It's the best one still so far is Killer Sofa, hands
Yeah.
down. So it's kind of comparing it to that. So that's why I'm like, 3.5. I feel like is pretty good. Would I watch it again? Yes. Would I though tell everybody and their mom they need to watch it? No. But Killer Sofa, yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's definitely one of those movies when everybody starts talking about like movies that are bad on purpose. It's definitely one that comes up, and you can always say, "I've seen that movie," and you can talk up, you can kind of speak to that movie. But otherwise, it really serves no greater purpose other than to serve as a cultural touchstone for these types of movies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So let's rate our beer. We'll talk about our thing of the week, and then we will get out of here. So, have you finished yours yet? All right. I'll
Still got some.
finish up mine real quick. Then, I already finished mine. Excuse me. I do give it a 4.5. It was delicious till the final sip. Even whenever it got warmer, the flavor stayed. Everything about it. I wish I had more of this. It was very
Nice.
delicious. Kind of it hit that hazy itch that I've had lately. The hazies up here are a little bit different. They're not quite what I'm used to. Um, so it's nice to drink a good haze that I'm like, yes, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, straightforward for me.
This one here, this Marzen, again, I'm more of a fan of Marzens for cooking, not as much for drinking, but it being the season, however, I did want to have some. I'm usually a bigger fan of like the Spaten lagers when it comes to like your Oktoberfest type brewing. Actually, there was a Frankander Oktoberfest that I actually had recently that was pretty good too. This one is good, serviceable. I give it a 3.25, 3.25.
Nice. All right. Thing of the week. Do you have one ready for us, Anthony?
I do. So I recently, so unrelated to my thing of the week, I've been looking for a new bag. I've used the same, like, I use like a messenger bag. I've had the same one since I was in grad school, like 10 years ago. And the thing's starting to get holes in it. So I've been looking for one for a long time. You remember that website, Think Geek?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's no longer around. They had one called the Bag of Holding, and it's basically just like it's supposed to be a play on Dungeons and Dragons Bag of Holding, which a bag just can hold like tons and tons and tons of stuff because it's got like a dimensional void in it. Anyways, they used to sell a bag that was like that. Unfortunately, that company is no longer in business. And so I was like, oh, I'll never find another bag like that. I'm gonna have to settle for something lesser. Well, there's a Kickstarter that recently started where they're just bringing the bag back. They got the rights to make the bag. And so I recently went to fund it. While I was tooling around on Kickstarter, because I've never done a Kickstarter before, I was like, oh, what other stuff is cool on Kickstarter? I found that they are raising money on Kickstarter. I can get my mouse to come up here. And bring up the webpage so I can look at it again. They're raising money to do a sequel to Deathgasm.
Oh my gosh.
Deathgasm 2. So if you want to kick in money towards the sequel to Deathgasm, which I believe we liked, if I remember correctly, we liked Deathgasm 1.
I think so.
Yeah. It's currently they're trying to raise money for 300,000. It's up to 54,000 right now. So they got 22 days ago to get to $300,000. But if you want to kick in some money to get Deathgasm 2 going, definitely look towards that. It looks like they got some cool ideas for it. They laid out a plot synopsis for the movie, and I gotta say, I'd love to see this movie and watch this on the podcast. So, but yeah, Kickstarter, Deathgasm, my thing of the week. Go check that out. I'll send you the link there, Ryan, so you can put that. We can put that in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make sure to do that. Man, it's hard for me to decide what to pick for my thing of the week because there's actually a lot. So we're totally caught up on RuPaul's Drag Race. We rewatched all of it. Now just the American version to be clear, because there's so many of the others. Um, so we're like, okay, well, what's our next show to kind of binge and have on? And we decided let's start Survivor.
Are you watching that from season 1?
Season 1.
Yeah, like started. They're like on season 50 at this point, right?
They're on season 45, I think.
Yeah.
But we're like, you know what? I mean, I got the time. I'm in no rush. Like why not? So we
My God,
started
that's
that.
quite the undertaking.
It is. We started that I think this last week, and the first season is so bad, but it's really interesting because like this was the first of its kind.
Right, it was like the first big like reality show.
Yeah, like, and this is 2000. Well, I think it's 2000 if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah.
So like nothing like this has ever been happening, and man, like some of the old people on this show too, like they're like racism and sexism and all that kind of stuff is coming out. You're like, man, this is rough.
I remember the biggest deal out of that was Richard Hatch, because he's like the naked guy. He's like naked all the time on the island.
Yeah, he's the only gay guy on the island, and they make sure to reference that a lot in this first season, and it's kind of funny. But of course, all the old guy that's on his team, he goes, "Oh yeah, no, I like the gay guy." He goes, "Me and him have become friends, not in a gay way." And you're like, "Come on, dude!"
Like you get canceled like super quickly if you did that in 2023.
Yeah,
oh man.
On top of it, it's just like nobody ever thought that too. You know what I mean? It's not like anybody thought, "Oh, they're getting handsy with each other." Like,
yeah,
dude, you are nobody's type, old man. Calm down.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we restarted, or not restart. We're going through Survivor, and it's actually been really fun. I'm really interested to see the changes that happen and all that kind of stuff because the audio is terrible. Like you can hear the crickets, but you can't hear the person talking.
Right.
So that's kind of fun to start going through. Another thing I do want to throw in there too is I started playing Starfield.
I want to try this. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I downloaded it before we went on vacation because it came out like the day before I left. So I was like, I'm gonna have it downloaded so whenever I get back, I can just play. Man, it is so much fun. But I mean, I've put in, I feel like I've put in so many hours and I still have barely done anything. So
It's like any other Bethesda game.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, there's so many games like that, but isn't there a place? Oh yeah, I've put 13 hours into it, and I feel like I've done nothing in this game, and I'm really actually kind of excited for it because it's like a game that I'm excited about. Like I've told my wife before, I'm like, you know what I wanted. Like we don't have anything planned this day. I'm gonna sit in my room. I'm gonna play this game, and like I did that. I think last Sunday. Like I sat here and I played. Finally, at some certain point, I was like, I gotta go see the outside world. She's like, "How was it?" I was like, "Oh, it was fun." I was like, "I think I'm still technically in the training though."
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I think last big Bethesda game I played was like, oh man, probably was like Fallout 4. Or yeah, but like even in that game, these games are small, like significantly smaller than that game, but like you're still like in the beginning of the game for like the first like feels like 15-20 hours.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about it. I watch clips and videos all the time to get like ideas of things to do because there's so much to do. So I'm excited to really dig deeper into that game and kind of see what happens. So
yeah, have you tried to build in your spaceship to look like any other spaceships?
Not yet, man. That's such a long task too. It's just like I'm kind of at the point where if I'm gonna spend a few hours doing something, I want to do gameplay.
Yeah.
Like I know eventually I'll be like, okay, I've done a lot. I kind of want to make my ship to look cool now, so do that. Or maybe I'll just go steal somebody else's ship.
Right.
Because there is one ship. I know. I mean, most people probably don't care, but there's one ship. Like if you steal it and stuff, like whenever you go places, and if people like pirates see your ship, they won't even fight you because the ship is like so powerful. So it's like I got to figure out wherever that ship is, take it, so I don't have to fight people unless I want to. Like, oh
Yeah,
yes, I just go ahead.
I've been playing the miniature indie version of that. I've been playing Outer Wilds, so
Mm,
I'm still working my way through that game. So
I want to play that too, but only
yeah,
one big game at a time.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just now looking at the Deathgasm page, which I put the link in the chats for anybody that's watching and you want to give it a go. So I don't know. I might back it too.
yeah.
It'd be fun. It'd be a fun one to do, and you can get a DVD of this. That's fun. So, anyways, those are my things of the week. So we are in October, which means we have one more scary movie to do, I think. Let's see. This comes out this time, then this time. Maybe two more movies that we're gonna do then this month. Um, so any ideas from you guys on what kind of movie you'd like us to watch? What kind of beer to drink? Let us know. On top of going into the holidays, let us know what you'd want us to do for a Thanksgiving movie. What would you want us to do for a Christmas movie? Um,
There is a specific Thanksgiving horror movie that's being released brand new, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah,
there is.
Thanksgiving horror movie that's coming out.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't even
it's
know.
receiving wide release. I have to I'll have to send you. I have to go dig it up. I saw a preview for it though on TV. I was like, they finally listened to us. The Thanksgiving horror movie.
Oh, great. So, hopefully it's not like the last. Remember last Thanksgiving we watched
Yeah.
the Pilgrim.
Yep. I don't want to watch that again. I'll
That
watch
was
Thanksgiving again.
Listen, we watched a horror Thanksgiving movie, and that was crazy. So, you
Yeah.
guys need to, if you haven't listened to it or watched that movie, I wouldn't suggest watching the movie. Listen to the podcast first. I feel like we did pretty good describing how just uh how horrific of a movie it is. But anyway, so if you guys give us any advice, let us know. We'd love to listen. Not listen. We'd love to watch it. And if you have any beer ideas, we'll try to find it and drink it. So with that said, you can find us on Instagram at Let's Instapod, Facebook, Let's Do a Podcast, Twitch, Let's Twitch a Podcast, on Letterbox at Let's Do a Podcast, and on Untapped at Let's Do a Podcast.
Yes.
There's something else. I feel like there's something else. YouTube. Let's do a podcast.
Let's do a podcast.
I think 22.
I think so.
I think so too. I'm really rough at this.
We need to make a list so we don't forget.
I know. There's a place on our new system to put like a script, so I need to write it down and put the stuff that I normally say and do. I should probably put that on there, but you know, I'm a little lazy. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys in about 2 weeks to do another episode. If I remember, I will post about it so you guys can either watch us do it live or watch the movie beforehand. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We appreciate you all, and let's end a podcast.
It's over. The end.
The end. Bye. Get
Yeah.
out of here. What are you doing? Don't sit here and watch. Get the hell out of here. All right. Bye.
What
everybody.
are you doing? What are you doing?
Leave. I hit stop, but it's not stopping. So you guys get us for a little bit longer.
I guess.
I guess. If we're still live. I don't